In the red corner, towering over mere mortals at the height of 6'5" and weighing in at 229 pounds, the man-mountain Lennox Lewis. Lennox would be coming into this fight the heavyweight champion of Europe and bringing with him a perfect record of 14 fights, 14 wins and 13 big knockouts. Standing in his way of destiny and in the opposite corner was a veteran of British boxing, feared for his punching power, the British champion Gary Mason. Big Gary would be coming into this fight not just the British champion, but with 34 fights to his name, and like Lennox, also undefeated. It's safe to say someone's O had to go.
When I get really mad, I just look at this picture and see a smile on Mason's face, holding up the belt. Well, I'm going to wipe that smile off his face and take away that belt, because that belt's mine.
The early 1990s was a transformative period for British boxing, particularly in the heavyweight division. For years, British heavyweights had struggled to make a mark on the global stage, dominated by powerhouse American fighters. However, by 1991, there was a sense of anticipation. British boxing fans were eager for a new star, someone who could not only dominate domestically, but also take on the world's best. The division needed a new face to carry the torch passed down by Frank Bruno, who had captured the hearts of the British public but had fallen short on both times, attempting to challenge for the heavyweight title.
Look at Bruno here, coming up with their left hook, catches it! A relentless assault here, pouring on the punishment.
Lennox Lewis, born in London to Jamaican parents but raised in Canada, Lewis was a world-class amateur who had won a gold medal at the 1988 Seoul Olympics, defeating big rival Riddick Bowe. By the time he turned professional, Lewis had already been earmarked as a future star in the sport. His combination of size, reach and technical skill set him apart from many of his peers. Lewis returned to Britain to launch his professional career, and he quickly made an impact, securing 14 straight victories by the time he was matched against Mason. While his resume lacked the extensive experience of Mason's, Lewis had been guided carefully by his management team, who only had eyes for global heavyweight dominance. The fight against Mason was seen as Lennox's first true test in the professional ranks. Up until that point, Lewis had not faced anyone with Mason's experience or punching power. For Lewis, this fight was a crucial step in his journey towards becoming a world champion.
I was an active Lennox Lewis. Every time he was on the television, he was jumping up, I want Gary Mason, he's got something I want. Well, Lennox, let me tell you something, I've got something I want to give you.
Gary Mason entered the fight as the seasoned veteran, holding an impressive record of 35-0 with 32 knockouts. Born in Jamaica and raised in South London, Mason was a beloved figure in British boxing. He was known for his punching power and his durability in the ring. Even with his decent record, he had struggled to break into the elite and was often slated for the level of competition. With many of his opponents seen as journeymen rather than top-billed fighters, his team would keep him from fighting Bruno, as they boxed out of the same gym. With Bruno stating he wouldn't want to take food off Gary's table, Mason's strength was also his greatest challenge. Known as a KO artist, his rep was built on laying out lesser-known fighters, but this left him untested against the real talent. Nevertheless, Mason was the British heavyweight champion, and he carried the many who believed that his experience and power would be too much for the younger Lewis. In the lead up to the fight, Mason was confident but respectful. He understood the significance of the bout and the implications it would have on his career. For Mason, this was more than just another fight. It was his chance to finally silence the critics and prove his name belonged among Tyson, Holyfield and Michael Spinks. We joined the fighters in early March 1991. It was fights like these that would set the standard for a fantastic decade of boxing. Would the rising star and Olympic gold medalist prove his pedigree, or would the old dog show he had fight left in it and move on to the World Championship fight? We join old friends Harry Carpenter and British boxing legend Frank Bruno at ringside for what would match up to be a great fight.
Frank Bruno is a very interested spectator, and he's alongside Harry Carpenter.
Well, it is an interesting fight. It is a genuine fight. It has international significance. And on paper, it looks really close. Just a typical one.
The man who might be able to give us a tip. Who do you fancy, Frank?
But my finger on a definite winner. We've just got to wait and see, Harry.
Like everybody else, that's what everybody's saying. Nobody wants to name a winner.
Heavyweights, you never can tell. Just one punch, Harry.
It's going to be a good fight.
Lennox Lewis in black.
Away from him if he uses the left hand properly, and that presumably will be the tactic. He has the reach. He should be able to keep Mason away from him. Mason going in with his head down. Not clear who has the heavier punch. And told off. Lewis the faster of the two men. Neat little right uppercut from Lewis, and Lewis getting the early accurate punches in. Now Lewis caution for holding. Of the two men, Mason looks the more tense. Not any leverage, and again, a ticking off. Lewis pulling Mason onto him, trying to get him close to him where Mason can't exert. All of Mason to get him swinging. Mason's danger lies in big swinging punches, but he needs to be a little bit away from Lewis. Lewis well covered up with his arms in close as Mason tries to find his body. Lewis takes something start. On the arms. A beautiful right uppercut from Lewis as Mason advanced. Wide open to it. No question at the moment, Lewis has scored all the early points. Finds him with the right hand. It's disturbing, I think, from Mason's point of view, how easy Lewis finds. Well, that was a very interesting opening round.
The first round would see the younger man find his mark and find it with ease. Lewis would dominate the ring from the get-go. If Gary was going to prove his worth and show the world what he can do, he was going to have to pick up the slack.
Very, very hurt.
And again, the snaking left hand of Lewis finds a schedule for 12 rounds. His way very easily into the face of Gary Mason. Yep. That's a good thump from Mason into the ribs of Lewis. That's a... Well, they haven't wasted any time warming sort of punch that will slow him down if enough of them get through. And just slightly marked around the eyes. He's taken a few left hands. Mason looking, as Mickey Duff, the manager of Mason, looking slightly anxious. Getting picked off. Seeing his man boxed at long range. Lewis has looked the much more relaxed of the two so far. The superior speed and reach is telling at the moment. Mason's going to put his faith here in getting close enough. And really go for one hell of a maker. It's a bit of right hand from Maker. Quite solid jab. And that gave Lennox Lewis something to think about. He lowered his arms, he shrugged his shoulders, and I think he was a wee bit hurt. It's a better jab from Mike. Low punch. Similar pattern to the first round.
The second round would bring more out from the European champion, boxing at range, keeping his hands low like a Western waiting to shoot his shot. But with the low hands would come the punch of Gary Mason. He was not a fighter to be taunted. Gary had never even come close to losing a fight.
Not knowing whether he'd ever be able to box again. Mason, of course, last year had serious eye problems and spent some months. Years ago, this very month, that Henry Cooper and Joe Bugner fought in this 20 ring, the last fight of Cooper's career. It's not moving quite so smoothly now as he was at the start, and Mason's right hand beginning. Look to get through it a little more often. Mason's right eye is looking a little suspect. He's got a slight see the effects of Lewis's left jab. Swelling coming up underneath the right eye, and maybe even the start of a swelling under the left as well, and that's obviously. Mason's right eye is beginning to close. A good left jab again. Pro is certainly fighting coolly enough here, but he's hurt again by a right hand from Lewis. And Lewis, for all the talk about his lack of experiences, comes instantly back. This is going to be no 12-rounder. Lewis takes a deep breath. He's beginning to puff a bit already. Almost as though.
His eyes very cut.
Mason's right eye looking worse by the month. And the arms coming down and looking very ragged. Moment and cut now. There's blood around the right eye. Good. Mason's right eye is seriously hurt. Lewis drops his arms again as Mason's right hand. Living on borrowed time, he needs a quick win because that eye is shutting at an alarming unders into his head. Mason now, perhaps the rate. Mason needs a KO blow here. Standing there taking these punches, not entirely guarded against them either. And the bell stops the Mason onslaught.
With a little bit of a push and a shove at the end of the third round, things were heating up. A better round for the British champion, but still not off his mark and in full swing. Lennox Lewis would keep his composure and stay true to his game plan. No flashy shots, just straight jabs on the money.
Well, this fight has... And one felt towards the end of the fourth that Lewis was beginning to lose his grip. Lewis has such a reach on it. Advantage here, and so much mobility that he really doesn't need to allow Mason to get close to it. It's almost impossible to get us in. Dwelling like this down, and they haven't succeeded. Mason is very close to looking out of just one eye. There is very bad feeling between these two now. Coming at that point from Lewis. There's a bit of taunting going on. Coming in. And not surprisingly, there's an air of urgency. I won't say desperation. That his time may be short in this fight. But certainly urgency about Mason's work, because he knows better than all of us. Motioning Mason to come on. I wish he'd get on with the job and concentrate on it instead of Lennox Lewis doing the needling. He's got enough on his plate with Mason in front of him. Mason now the man who's picking the other man off. 16-3 and 16-11. And they can't keep up. Pace is slowed down considerably. These are two very big men. Fast pace for too long. And that was a better round for Mason. In fact,
Mason's eye was visibly swelling badly, and he was starting to feel the effect of Lewis's sharp punching. Lewis remained disciplined, continuing to work the jab. Mason tried to keep coming forward, but Lewis's punches were beginning to sap his energy. It was clear that Lewis was growing in confidence and dictating the pace of the fight.
and Lewis goes to work and concentrate on his work too well in the fourth, and maybe they've told him about it, and he's come out looking a little more efficient. The big right. Didn't really concentrate. These two are splitting £276,000 tonight. Equally, both champions. Had one been the champion, the other just... the challenger, then it would have been split 60-40. Lewis's mouth looks quite marked. He's open-mouthed all the way through, and the lower lip's beginning to look as though it's injured. And Mason trying to peer through this swell of the younger man. An eye showing a lot of courage here, coming forward and trying his best here to get rid. Not using his feet. He's standing within range of Mason's big... Lewis not really using his advantages again. Punches. Reach, or else coming in very close and claiming Mason. Earlier on, he was either circling away, well out of... This is really becoming quite a brutal fight. Neither man has found the one really big punch that could turn the fight. Again, he smiles. All those are going through to the head of Lewis. He shrugs his shoulders. He punch Mason cares to throw.
Get your head up, Lewis. Get your head up.
Lewis seems to have made up his mind that he can take any. Arms coming down again. He's clearly tired. And there's a long...
Lewis picked up the pace in the fifth round, landing more clean and powerful punches. Mason's right eye was now almost completely shut, impairing his vision. Despite the damage, Mason bravely tried to fight back, but his shots lacked the snap and timing needed to trouble Lewis.
Quite cool, but he's having to work hard to keep this contest up. Mr. O'Connell keeping himself quite cool control. The piercing left jab and a good short, sharp right from Lewis. Jab again, spearing its way into the battered face of Mason. And Mason had better find a knockout punch pretty quick. Actually.
Let go, Lewis, let go. Good shot.
Lewis. Not working too hard. The pair of them now. Looking pretty weary, and it's hardly surprising the way they've been at each other now for nearly 6 rounds. And had to back off and stop attacking because of the punches coming his way. He tries again. And Mason forces his way inside. But I wonder if I sense a touch of... And he's picked off with sharp, piercing, cutting punches. Spare in Mason's work now. And again, the left jab. And Mason's beginning to take too many punches in that battered face of Lewis. Has been the key punch. Totally shut. Larry O'Connell had a good close look at it there, and I think he's going to have to make his mind up. Mason's right eye is now certainly... And Mason's got some blood on the left eye now as well. Make his mind up pretty shortly whether he allows this to go on. Now as well. I'm not sure that he's cut there, but there's certain... I don't know how long his courage can sustain him here. He's taking two. Mason looks like a man working in slow motion now. And he's badly hurt. He screwed his face up in pain, and I really do think this is going to have to be round 7. He's putting everything into to an end in a minute, but Mason is having one last desperate go. In do or die effort. And it puts his hands around it's called off. That was the last fling for Gary Mason. And the sympathetic O'Connell says, "You're not going to take any more, son." And that's right enough.
The passing of the British Guard complete. Gary Mason had served British boxing well, and it was now time for a new champion. We leave you with one question. Are you an old school boxing fan? If so, give that subscribe button a stiff jab. I've been Frank Monroe here at Below the Belt Boxing. Take care.